Things are changing on Etsy, and this is a good thing. The CEO of Etsy, Josh Silverman, just came out with many announcements, many updates, and many clarifications on how to be successful on Etsy and what some new guidelines are. I will actually be meeting with a VP at Etsy tomorrow to discuss certain things further, but today I wanted to make you a video explaining exactly what these changes are and how they will impact your current shop. Now, I'm going to decipher everything for you and explain what this means for you and what opportunities this opens up for you to make more money. First of all, there are now 4 categories that Etsy is calling out. So it's not just handmade, digital, vintage, supplies, right? We now have made by a seller, designed by a seller, sourced by a seller, and handpicked by a seller. Made by a seller, what does this mean? And what opportunities does this open up? This is what we traditionally think of as the handmade category. So this is physical items crafted, altered, or assembled by a seller by hand or using tools they own, like a 3D printer or Cricut machine. These could be handcrafted items, which would be something like a chair built by hand or pottery, or it could be hand-altered items, which are really one of the highest margin opportunities on Etsy. And it is something like maybe a tote with something embroidered on it, maybe a finished product, and then part of it is painted, right? Those are hand-altered items. Hand-assembled items would be another category within the made by a seller umbrella, and this would be commercially available components that are attached together or combined to create a unique end product. Now, what I love seeing here is this could be like patches on a jacket, adding charms on a necklace. So you could literally buy a chain necklace and put one charm on it. Boom, it's made by a seller. I find it fascinating that they showed this example of a keychain. So it's basically a keychain with a bunch of, smaller keychains or charms attached to it. Another category within made by a seller is items produced using computerized tools. These are like embroidery machines or Cricuts or laser printers. And we've known that you can use all of these tools in the handmade category, but these are now made by seller products. This is where things start to get more interesting. We go into the next umbrella, which is designed by seller. These are original designs by a seller or seller prompted AI art. This could be offered as a digital download or produced or printed by a third party, which we know as print on demand. This could also be digital downloads of original designs, audio, text, documents, or physical artwork. Original designs produced by a production partner, that is print on demand. They do specify that you can use seller prompted AI creations, that it just needs to be disclosed in the listing. So this means when you create an image, let's say with AI, you don't have to alter it. You don't have to do post-production. I always still recommend doing post-production, but this is saying it is completely legal to not do post-production alterations on your AI art. Now, it makes it very clear you cannot do AI prompt bundles. That's going to change things. There's many sellers out there doing AI prompt bundles now. You also cannot do a PDF file of a book that you did not personally create or design. Now, some interesting photo guidance gets sprinkled in here because they specify that the first photo, the thumbnail photo in any listing has to be a real product, which means it's not made with AI. So it is an actual product. They also specify that you cannot put a placeholder text like your text here or custom design on something that is customized. You actually have to show a custom example, like someone's actual last name. And then this means as an overlay, you could do something like free customization, free personalization, add your name. But on the product itself, it has to have an actual design. That is something new as well, but they specify this being your main listing photo, your thumbnail image. So they're saying that the first photo has to be the real deal. The rest of the photos, they say they don't necessarily have to be the actual product. Now, the next very interesting category that I think is going to open up so much opportunity is handpicked by the seller. Now, handpicked by seller, that does encompass vintage. So vintage items must be 20 plus years old. There's many stipulations for vintage. They also point out items that are naturally found in nature. So seeds, soil, plants, herbs, rocks, shells, things like that. And the next area within handpicked by seller is very exciting to me and a lot of my students, and it is the gift basket arena. And this is where you can do an assortment of different types of items that the seller personally selected and creatively packaged to create a new unique set. Now, there is gray area here, which is why I recommend really being on the right side of things, because they say gift baskets must have a clear theme that ties together a variety of different types of items that were individually selected by the seller. Generic concepts such as candy, clothes, or a mystery box, there goes a lot of listings, right? Those do not qualify as gift basket themes. So you couldn't do like a candy themed gift box, a clothing themed gift box, or a mystery gift box. I even think girl themed gift box, boy themed gift box likely is not enough. It also says that sellers must list every item contained in the gift box or basket in the listing description, which should have been done anyways. And this is the other stipulation. The products cannot come from a single supplier. Let's say you're shopping with a brand on Amazon and you're getting a lot of your gift basket products from that one brand on Amazon. Well, you have to differentiate. You have to diversify where you're sourcing your materials from. It has to be a collection of different item types selected and creatively packaged by a seller. And they use the example of a book lover gift basket, a unique assortment of dried flowers, right? What I love about this one is that before, in the past, when you were doing things like commercially made, hand-picked items, putting it together, you used to have to form a new structure with that. And this is the big change. They used the example in the past of a diaper cake where you're buying diapers and you're making a new structure out of it. Now it's saying they don't have to be physically attached to each other. Being in the box is enough. And this is really going to highlight sellers who are really good at curating and really see margin opportunity within certain product mixes and combinations. This is a new playing field, and I'm very excited about it. The next category is sourced by a seller. In the past, we thought of this as a lot of the supply category products. Here, they are specifying that it is items that enable buyer creativity, including craft and party supplies, which we know, and items that are personalized with a buyer's custom text or image. In a way, this is going to be altering a product, which I actually think this last part, items personalized with a buyer's text or image, that could be handmade or designed by seller. That's okay. We're lumping it into sourced by a seller. So they specify craft supplies, tools or materials whose primary purpose is to create a new item by hand. So this is like craft tools, craft materials, yarn, beads, knitting needles, blanks. Now they specify here, this hasn't changed, blanks, which are items that are not intended to be used without further crafting. They really specify that resold blank items that are ready to use without craft intervention, such as blank t-shirts, hats, or tumblers, do not qualify as craft supplies. This is the same as before. I love that one of our ways we teach supplies is items for events and occasions, and that is still allowed. So they say party supplies, items whose primary purpose is to decorate a special event, to give it a unique or personal aesthetic. I love that this is still allowed. And they specify these could be like table decorations, balloons and streamers, holiday decor, party favors, and gift wrap. Okay, love that you can still resell all of that on Etsy. The last part of sourced by a seller, they do cover buyer personalized items produced by a production partner. So that's using the buyer's text or image, putting it onto another product produced by a production partner. So that could be like a shirt, a hat, or look at this, a neon sign that could be personalized with the buyer's name or special phrase. Generic resold items that have everyday uses, such as plain furniture, stage lights, or speakers, they do not qualify as party supplies. You have to keep that in mind. It has to be really specific to that specific event or occasion. Love that they threw holiday decor into this though, because that really opens up a whole new opportunity for people who are looking for a high margin business that is more hands-off. And if you are interested in that, let's talk. I would love to chat with you about that opportunity because I really think it's underserved on Etsy. With this category, Etsy does specify with sourced items that they must use photo or video content of the items you have for sale, not stock or commercial images. Okay, so you cannot be just taking the photos from your suppliers and reusing those. You have to use your own photos. I find it very interesting that they do not specify who has to do the shipping, which I believe leaves a lot of gray area here. And that is one thing I'm going to talk to the VP that I'm speaking with tomorrow about, because I think that opens up just a whole realm of possibility for people who maybe are in other countries, or maybe they are not having the physical location where they can be shipping things themselves. So that's one thing I want to dive deep into with Etsy leadership. So if you have any clarifying questions about Etsy's new guidelines, new clarifications, really let me know. What I see this as is making things more clear where there was ambiguity before. There's a couple of new policies, a couple of new things that are allowed, a couple of things that are no longer allowed. So if you take anything away from this, I want you to take away a sense of hope and excitement about new opportunity on Etsy. And I hope you feel more confident in your shop, in your strategies, because Etsy is much more clear on what they allow and what they don't allow, which ultimately is just going to keep your business more safe and stable. So if you have any questions at all, reach out to us. Happy to answer your questions. My team and I are standing by. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video.
I've gone from about $1,500 to $2,000 in revenue a month to currently, before the month's finished, $4,200 in revenue. I only joined multi-six-figure Etsy Blueprint about 4 weeks ago now.